David Weisman, followed by Rochelle Becker. Mr. Weisman.
Good afternoon, David Weisman, Alliance for Nuclear Responsibility. I'd like to discuss two elements, and both, I think, give evidence why the state of California and its regulatory agencies have an overriding concern in understanding the seismic footprint that's present. One is that it's apparent we cannot trust the Nuclear Regulatory Commission with our safety. On October 16th, they released their report on the shoreline fault that we've heard captioned earlier today, with headlines in our local media that said, additional NRC analysis confirms earthquake safety at Diablo Canyon Nuclear Plant. We invite the public to visit our website. That's A4nr.org, and right there on the top of the homepage you'll find our analysis preliminary of this shoreline fault report. I'll just give you a couple of bullet points on that right now. PG&E is about to undertake seismic studies, which means that the NRC relied on information that was decades old in coming to their conclusion. The NRC miscalculates in refusing to investigate multi-fault rupture scenarios on the shoreline in the Hosgri Fault, wherein multi-fault ruptures were exactly the cause of the March 2011 Tohoku earthquake and the Fukushima disaster, and in fact they were the cause of the Landers earthquake that many are familiar with, but they refused to acknowledge or accept that that could be a possible consideration on these faults. They have also said that the NRC is ready to accept a level 3 workshop on studying the seismic conditions for Diablo, when in fact a level 4 is their highest level of scrutiny, to which we must pose the question, if not a level 4 for Diablo Canyon, then why is that number there, if only you would use a level 3? We also cast doubts upon the research vessel that has been chosen by PG&E for this. The maritime work on the research vessel Langseth by their own internal commissions has been cited for multiple technical failures and shortcomings and should certainly be reevaluated. But finally, we also point to the situation in Fukushima, and I think this calls for a bit of an inverse thinking on the concept of think global, act local. In that counterintuitively, we've been thinking very locally here, but may have a responsibility to act global. As the New York Times, Associated Press, and Reuters have reported this week, 40% of the fish caught off of Fukushima now have tested positive for cesium, and as Dr. Ken Buesler from Woods Hole Institute says, the fact that many fish are just as contaminated with cesium today as they were a year ago indicates that the cesium is released in the food chain and will likely remain in the sediment for decades. Now remember, the inverse is also true. Were it only a matter of fate, it could be our contaminated fish from our radioactive seashore that was showing up in Japan. And that danger exists at all times. And until we have that certainty, we are in the same situation they were in Japan, where the utility now admits they refused to investigate the earthquake data for fear that it would incite the public and cause expensive retrofits, and they did not conduct due diligence. We do not deserve to have that reverse flow of our contamination going to Japan. We need to conduct the due diligence, and I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Weisman. Rochelle Becker, followed by Dr. C. Height.
Thank you for having us here today. First, I would like to thank Dr. Blakesley for appearing earlier today. Without a doubt, he has been the hero in Sacramento. He has not only managed to get people to understand the seismic issues in Sacramento, but he has managed to bring Republicans and Democrats together twice with one no vote between both bills to push for the protection of this community. Dr. Gibson has been amazing on the independent peer review panel. It is a wonderful peer review panel because Dr. Gibson is participating. He's not just showing up. He's questioning. He's providing input that is absolutely necessary to go forward. We have been given a Sophie's choice. This is a horrific choice that this community has to make. There is no doubt about that. But the Alliance has been working with decision makers in Sacramento, in San Francisco, at this local body, in San Diego at San Onofre, and with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission since 2005 when we were formed. We meet with the seismic experts. We meet with the decision makers. We meet with the oversight agencies, and we do that consistently because we need to know what's going on. When we sat in the State Lands Commission meeting a few months ago and listened to our community, person after person, talk about the devastation of this sea life, I have to tell you, this was the first we'd heard about it. The Alliance does not claim to be marine experts. We claim to want to make sure that before any license renewal can be considered in the state of California, that we've updated our seismic studies, because we can't rely on another 20 years. In fact, at San Onofre, the NRC approved steam generators that didn't operate for 2 years. We have to do our own due diligence. We have excellent experts in the state of California, and this alliance has met with them from San Diego to San Francisco continually. We realize that this is going to be a devastating project, and it is horrific to even consider. But we didn't cause the problem. The county didn't cause the problem. The state of California didn't cause the problem. And in many ways, PG&E didn't cause the problem. The federal government came to our state and said, how about building a couple of nuclear plants here? Granted, PG&E didn't do a great job of looking for earthquake faults, and it cost us an extra $4 billion in cost overruns when we didn't look for those earthquake faults. We don't want to see that happen again. It is our responsibility, the responsibility of every single one of us, and it's our responsibility to find a compromise that we can work together. I don't want to kill fishes. I don't want to kill marine life. I don't want to kill surfers. My husband surfs. I live by the ocean. I love the ocean. It's why I live there. But I do not want to see this nuclear power plant relicensed. And I do know that if we want to count on state jurisdiction, they have to have the information collected by state experts to count on whether or not we invest in that. That's what the Alliance is looking at right now. We understand that this is a horrific choice. It's not one easily made, and we're sorry anyone has to make it.
Thank you, Ms. Becker.